What's going on, guys? It's your boy Trolltek here for another video. So today we are getting into episode 13 of His Man Season 2, second last episode of the series, but show, dating, whatever you want to call it. It's kind of like we're approaching the end, and honestly, it's low-key kind of the end of an era. Like I said, it's been 2 years since we started reacting to this. So yeah, it's the last two episodes. So my assumption is like this episode, we're probably going to be doing like the last of the, I guess, like strategies, I guess you can implement to pull someone's attention. And then next episode, I reckon will just be it will be like the culmination of everything that happened and all the choices will be made and stuff like that. I think this episode, there's going to be a lot of stress involved. And then next episode, it's going to kind of be solved, I feel like. I feel like this episode, though, is the episode where there's going to be a lot of, like, situations happening. Especially in the last episode, we get the meeting between Hyunjin and Hyunjun. They decide to meet up. Or I don't know if they decide to meet up or if it's like a production side thing. It wasn't really made clear on how the meetings work. But this is going to be a tense conversation, so I'm really excited for it, but also nervous. So without further ado, let's get into episode 13. Okay, so this is after his conversation with Sanu. Oh. As much as I like to see Sun Ho and Jun Sung, right now let's go back to Hyunjin and Hyunjun because that I'm on the edge of my seat with that.
감정이 북받쳐 올라서 가자마자 안 왔던 것 같아요.
Can you guys go home already? You guys don't need to be here anymore, to be honest. Like, no, I'm joking, but like.
잘했어? 응. 안 울었어? 선생님 얘기하면서? 울었는데?
He did, yeah. Bro knows him too well.
언제 나갔다 이제 왔어요? 늦게 와요. 뭐 하고 왔어요? 혼자서 집에 갔다 왔죠? 어떻게?
Bro sounds like a dad. He's like, where have you been all this time? What the fuck are those? I'm gonna say they're knitting, but why is that so thick?
네. 아니 선생님 같이 가요.
Oh, bro's watching a YouTube tutorial.
네? 여기까지 갔다. 네?
What's this supposed to be? Like the one in his hand.
너무 빨라요.
안 배고파?
배고파.
그래? 그래.
What's with all those Polaroids on the table?
그거 어디 있어? 그 뭐 재는 거.
그냥 저기 없으면 저기 밑에 있어요. 그 원래 우리 컵이 있는데.
The struggles of a bilingual motherfucker. This reminds me of like when I go to Turkey and like I'm in the kitchen and like I'm making something and you go to your cousins and you're like, I'm trying to find a item, but I don't know the Turkish word for it. So it's just like, and you say it in English and they're like, what the fuck are you talking about, motherfucker?
없어요?
없어. 아, 여기 있다.
Holy moly. Wait, how did I know he was going to say that?
맞냐? 난 항상 다른 남자랑.
Oh, that's crazy work.
나도 알아. 뭐야? 보이긴 해. 약간 어긋났네.
It was like a demented, broken heart.
여기서 요리 시켜놓고 우리 둘이 자이언트 만들면서
Yeah, I was just gonna say that this is a violation. Bro's just like got rejected. To be fair, he's in a better mood after he got rejected, but now he's got to face with this fucking annoying ass couple. Like after the fact, it's just like, bro, even I'd be irritated. Who's he talking to? Sanu, I guess. I don't know who else it could be.
고생했었어. 형이 있어서 좋네요. 아직 하고 싶은 거 보는 거 아니었어? 당연하죠, 형도.
So I feel like just based on the fact that they're like teasing us like a motherfucker, the Hyunjin conversation is going to be intense. Like, I feel like they're saving the best for last. Like, not the best as in like just how captivating the conversation is going to be.
그게 너무 아쉽고 우리가 첫 데이트 했을 때 형이 저한테 1%로
I think it's not that he didn't notice them. I think he was being what's the word? I think he was being actively obtuse about realizing that Yoonhee was shooting his shot, right? Like I think he was aware of it 100%, but he was like being oblivious on purpose because either he didn't want to face that conversation of rejecting him or he wasn't sure or whatever else it may have been. So I don't think he didn't notice it. He just was being ignorant, like acting like he was ignorant of it.
나는 너에게 그렇게 말을 할 수가 없었어.
So a bit selfish almost. Not selfish, but yeah, they're kind of a bit selfish. It was, yeah, it's like semi-selfish. It's not a inherently like it's not a crazy bad thing, but it's like kind of selfish. It was kind of selfish.
하나씩 좀 바꾸기 시작했어요. 담배도 안 피고.
Yeah, see, it's like this is where his youth shows. This is where like him being basically like still basically a kid at this point. Because he's like 20, 21. I think he's 21, but I think that's like his Korean age. So I'm pretty sure the Korean age is like a year ahead. So he's like 20, 19, 20, whatever he is, right? So this is where it shows because it's like he thinks there's something wrong with me. That's why he doesn't like me, where it's just a matter of like, you just don't mesh as two people. That's just how it works. Like, it's not like that's obviously there is things you can work on as a person, but generally that's not usually the reason someone doesn't like you. It's usually because you just don't mesh well, right? So this is where his youth shows.
보내줬어.
저도 감사합니다. 부담스럽지.
Can I be honest? I genuinely think this. I think the only reason Sunwoo didn't really give Yoonhee a chance was the ages. I'm gonna be straight up. Because I remember before they knew each other's ages, it wasn't like there was a vibe between him and Yoonhee, but he was definitely more open to knowing more about Yoonhee and stuff. And then they learned the ages, and there was like this sudden like switch of the vibe that Sunwoo was bringing towards Yoonhee. So I think it would honestly, if it wasn't for the age thing, I genuinely think he could have like given Yoonhee a chance. I genuinely think that. But I think as soon as he learned that age, it was like, okay, this is a done deal for me. Which 100% fair enough. 100% is like the same decision I would make if I was in Sunwoo's position. But like, I think that was the thing. Plus. Okay. Here it is, guys. This is the true moment of anxiety-inducing meetings. Because, like, we know, Hyunjin, I don't know, doesn't really have bad feelings for Hyunjin, so I don't think from his side of things, but we know Hyunjin is kind of furious at what he views as, like, a betrayal. So, this is going to be a bit thing. I wouldn't say that he was betrayed by Hyunjin. I would definitely say Hyunjin kind of grasped him a bit, and it was a bit of I don't know. It was kind of an icky way he went about it, but I wouldn't say he betrayed him or backstabbed him or anything like that. Anything so extreme. But I get Hyunjin's I get his anger for sure. I understand it.
이게 틀린 게 아니라 나랑은 다른 거야. 근데 내가 약간 솔직히 화가 났어.
Okay, interesting. I genuinely thought he was going to come here fucking spitting fire and brimstone, but no, he seems to be like, I get it. I wouldn't have done it this way, but I get it. It's not like you're the bad guy in this situation. He's being honest though. He's like, but I was pissed off.
왜냐면은 너 했던 행동들 보면은 나랑 민성이랑 셋이 너같이 포함해서 셋이 있었을 때 너는 근데 자리 피해주려고 해.
That was okay. That's a good point. That was what I was saying. Like my problem with Hyunjin wasn't that he was doing the things he was doing, but it was like every action it felt like it was artificially manufactured to get a certain response instead of just being himself and being who he is and just letting things roll on naturally, if that makes sense. That was my issue as well. So I could see that.
나랑 민성이랑 같이 있는 거 싫으면 거기 계속 껴있던가. 왜 나한테 그런 얘기를 하면서까지.
See, I respect this. That's what I was saying. Hyunjin's like, if that's what you want, then fucking just be a man about it, basically. Just say, this is it. This is my position. I'm going to pursue him in front of everyone. Be who you are at all times. Don't fucking change up in to get a certain strategy. Like that was my issue as well. I didn't give a shit if he fucking chases after Minsung. I don't care. Like do whatever you want to do, but like be a fucking proper fucking solid dude about it at least.
난 솔직히 거기서 너도 신경 절대 안 쓰였어.
Ish. Okay, Hyunjin. Like honestly, if I was Hyunjin, I don't know if I would respond differently in this situation.
보내준 친구들 중에 하나인 줄 알았어. 왜 자리를 피해주려고 했으니까. 나는 그거 하나야 그냥.
Yeah, that's the point. You made me think a certain way about where you were, but that wasn't where you actually were, right? So even outside of this love triangle dynamic, fuck that. As a friend, how can I trust anything you fucking say to me now? Like, how can I trust you as a person? Forget about the love stuff, you know?
좋겠었어. 그리고 나는 뭔가 형이랑 나랑 이렇게 셋이
I think that's a mistranslation because that's crazy. Because it says it was my intention to make Minsung. Oh yeah, it said my intention was to make Minsung uncomfortable. I think that's a mistranslation. It was probably my intention was just to make Minsung. No, I don't know. I don't know what the intention was. These fucking subtitles are trash. I'm gonna be straight up.
있으면은
Sometimes.
민성이가 그냥 불편하다고 느껴서 나는 계속 자리를 피했던 거고.
Okay, so yeah, the caption was it was my intention to make Minsung comfortable.
했던 거야. 만약에 경쟁 상대라고 생각했으면은 너도 어느 정도 적당히 선을.
Yeah, this is a tough situation because I get it. Look, if we're talking about right and wrong, just for the actions that were happened, Hyunjin's in the right, Hyunjin's in the wrong. That's just a fact. Like if we're just talking about the right and wrong of the specific action without looking at, you know, external factors like the way he's portraying the message or the way they're conversing about it or any of the external shit, we're just talking about the actions themselves, Hyunjin's in the right. Now, on the other hand, I could also see why Hyunjin made those decisions that he made because he thought this was the most, I guess, feasible way he could go about it because of the way he is as a person. So I can see that. So even though objectively, if we just look at the actions themselves, he's in the wrong. But then there's also that like gray silver lining of like, you know what I mean? I don't know. It's hard. This one's a hard topic to see where you stand. I will say I give more like thing to Hyunjin in this situation because like he didn't really end with the reason I give. Okay, it feels like I defend Hyunjin a lot in this love triangle situation. The reason I defend him more than the other two is because Hyunjin. Fuck their names. Why are they so similar? Hyunjin, basically his issue was he kept grassing and just doing shady shit in the background. Like he would talk shit about Hyunjin in the interview section. You know, he would act one way with Hyunjin and then like try to like get with Minsung behind his back. Like it was like just shady shit like that. That's why I'm on his ass all the time. And then Minsung, I think, allowed this atmosphere of toxicity to be created because of his refusal to set proper boundaries and saying this makes me uncomfortable and this, like it felt like Hyunjin and Hyunjin kind of had to base their actions on what they thought Minsung was feeling because Minsung wouldn't fucking say anything. You know what I mean? So it was like if they had proper boundaries to say this is where I am from Minsung's perspective, it would have been a healthier love triangle, I guess, because they would have known where they stood. But because Minsung kind of just was silent, it was like they were trying to kind of figure out, okay, where do we stand? What am I supposed to do in this situation? You know what I mean? Where Hyunjin, on the other hand, yeah, he's made some mistakes. I feel like maybe he's a bit too easily angered. He's a bit too passionate in comparison to the other two. But at least he's upfront about everything he is and what he's thinking and where he stands. He's like, this is what it is. So even if he makes a mistake, I can look at it and be like, okay, he made a mistake, or he's making a mistake, or the way he's talking about these things maybe are a bit too harsh. But on the other hand, it is whatever he's saying and whatever he is what it is. You know, it's not like I need to fucking have a board of like all the events to figure out what Hyunjin and Minsung are thinking. You know what I mean? Like that's why I give him more, I guess, defense than the other two. Sorry, that was a big rant.
그 전까지는 몰랐어. 그냥 밀어주나 보다. 근데 가끔 그냥.
And I think that's the root issue, right? That's the root issue. I know we've come back to saying the same thing. The root issue is I didn't fucking know. You didn't make it clear. That's the issue. It's not that you like him. The issue is the cloak and dagger.
그렇게밖에 생각 안 했어. 너가 그런 행동들이 없었으면.
And I will say I can't blame Hyunjin fully for this situation because I do feel like he only realized that he had a certain view of Minsung pretty late as well. And he wasn't even sure about it. So I'll give him props there. I don't think it makes him completely innocent of whatever happened, but I can see that being an argument.
난 그렇게 생각을 했어. 그냥 응원해주고 있었다. 뭐 밀어주는 것까지는 아니어도.
That's a pretty fair assumption though. Like if we look back at the initial, like the way he gave them space and was like, yeah, you know, asking about their dates and shit like that. If you think about that, yeah, it sounds like, yeah, you weren't interested in him and you were just like, oh, this it's like you want us to be together. And then suddenly now you like him. And it's like, okay, was that, now I need to think, was that all your strategy from day one? Even if it wasn't Hyunjin's strategy from day one, but if I'm Hyunjin, I'm going to be like, wait, okay, did he do all that to eventually grasp me and backstab me and so he could have a better chance? Like that's the thoughts that is going to go through my head, in my opinion. So I know it might not be his intention, Hyunjin's, whether it is, I'm not sure, but it doesn't matter. Your intentions don't matter, actually. In reality, what the message you are portraying, how I understand your motivations, that's the important part. You need to make it clear to the people around you because you could have the best intentions, but what's the saying? The road to hell is paved with good intentions. So I fully get where Hyunjin's coming from.
피해줬는데 이제 화를 내셔가지고 그 순간 너무 억울하고 당황했던 것 같아요.
I don't know if this is something you can blame Hyunjin for, but I have noticed this. This is not a bad thing per se, but I have noticed he doesn't really have a lot of social awareness. Like his actions, that the thing, even outside of this love triangle situation, like even the situation with Januk when he was talking about like, you know, when Januk took him to the house and like, showed him his dog and stuff, and then he took that the wrong way, and then they had the whole thing, right? Even in that situation, he didn't understand why Januk would be pissed off in that situation. So I feel like his social awareness of his words and actions to other people, he doesn't understand it actually. Or he's not aware of it, or he doesn't care. I don't know what it is, but I don't want to say he's self-centered or showed self-centered traits, but it's like one of those things where he seems so unaware of the social consequences of the words that come out of his mouth and the actions, you know, he commits. So it's interesting for sure. And it's not inherently a bad thing. It's just something I've noticed about him.
난 진짜 약간 안 울 줄 알았어. 그냥 편하게 이렇게 얘기하고.
Okay, I like to see Hyunjin actually being like, okay, I could see why you're pissed off. I could see it if I put myself in your shoes, if I look at it from your perspective, I get it actually now. So I'll give him that. I give him props for that actually. I think the thing with Hyunjin is like, I know it sounds like I think he's a terrible person or something because I criticize him so much. I generally don't think he's a bad guy, but I just feel like he just doesn't know how to interact with people in a tactful, empathetic manner. I think that's just the issue. I think his worldview is very like narrowed in on the things he sees, and he thinks Like, you know, the type of person that like they have an opinion on something or they have a worldview or a path that they're following, but they don't see anything outside of that. So they get very narrow focused and they don't realize, I don't know, whether it's like the hurt they create or, you know, the mistakes they might make because they're so honed in on one thing. That's kind of what he reminds me of. Not that he's a bad guy. It's just that I think he has an issue with being aware of the full picture as opposed to what he sees.
아니야. 그냥 경계가 없었어. 나도 생각보다 질투 많고 진짜 표현할 땐 하고 싶은 말 있으면 다 하는 편이거든. 근데
Which we've seen by this meeting that they've had.
그러고서 그냥 진짜 너무 바보 같아. 그냥 나는
Yeah, I've said that before. If Yeonjun's like the biggest issues he's had for sure is the fact that he didn't really take it seriously. It was like I've got this in the bag. I don't need to worry too much. So yeah, for sure. At least he's aware of that.
나? 난 아까 왔지?
좋았어요. 형진이 형이랑은
The elephant in the room walked in basically.
못한 상황이기에
Like when it comes to Hyunjin and Youngjin.
그러니까.
Oh yeah, they ended up getting their date because they were talking about this.
걔도 마지막에 이렇게
난 1대1이
Hyunjin is such an awkward moving person. Like, you know when some people walk and move around, it looks so awkward and like, I don't know, lame almost. And this is not me being a hater. This is genuinely just how I feel. I've felt like this since he entered the house. The way he moves is just so like, it's slow but like fast. I don't know.
그래도 아무튼 그냥 지금은 그냥 저는 민성 씨한테 궁금한 거에
Okay, that was interesting. That was an interesting point. I think, so how do I feel about what just happened there? Because it's important, right? It's, again, I don't know, because it can be a good thing. I can look at it from a positive perspective or a negative perspective, right? Positive perspective is Min-sung is trying to respect Hyunjin in that situation and not hear about the private conversation he had with Hyunjin. Again, that's a point against Hyunjin for trying to share this private conversation these two had, which Min-sung doesn't really need to know about. Now, I'm not going to talk about it. I want to talk about Min-sung's perspective. Now, you could look at it from a positive perspective, but then you can look at it from a negative perspective, which I love to do because it's really interesting reaction content. Negative perspective of that is, again, Min-sung's refusing to face the negative aspects and conversations that need to happen to get true clarity. You could view it from that perspective, or you can look at it positively and say, oh, Min-sung's respecting Hyunjun's private conversation with Hyunjin. I don't know. You could look at it both perspectives, but I just wanted to offer my view on both the negative and positives of that.
정리를 해서 이 사람에게 호감 표현을 하고 그렇다면은 이 사람은 다른 사람에게 조금 더 알아보는
That's a good point, actually. That makes sense.
잘못인 것 같아가지고 조금 그랬네.
But at the end of the day, it's their decision to wait for your decision, you know, like, because one of them can be like, you know what, I'm over this fucking love triangle shit. I'm going to pursue someone else. They could say that. They could do that. And it's no harm, no foul, you know, just like you should have time to make the decision that you want to make. They should have the option to decide, fuck this, I'm going to move on. So it's their choice in not doing that. So I don't think Min-sung should really blame himself on that front. I think he has a lot of issues the way he deals with situations, but that's not one of them.
그러니까 뭔가 이렇게
정리가 됐다는 거 그런 표현인 거지.
정리가 됐고 이제 나도 막
The reason I feel like these two are going to end up like choosing each other, or Min-sung's going to end up choosing Hyunjin, is the way that this is not it's not a negative thing. I know every time I'm commenting about him, it feels like it's going to be negative, but it's not. The reason I think they're going to choose each other, or Min-sung's going to choose him, is because the way that they make decisions and the way that they portray and think about serious topics like this is very similar. Like, you know, they hesitate a lot, they second guess, they're kind of a bit wishy-washy, not in a bad way. It's just like they're very, like, they think a lot before they make a choice, a decision, right? On the other hand, Hyunjun is very much like, this is the decision I made. I'm going to stick by it. That's it. Done. Right? So I don't, just from that perspective, I feel like these two will probably be the couple. Just from that, in my opinion. Because like, I feel like even if Hyunjun and Minsung got together, I don't think it'd work out just because of they're just so wildly different. And that's not even accounting for the lifestyles. I mean, just as people, they're so wildly different. And I think sometimes opposites can attract and it can work, but like 90% of the time it doesn't work. So I genuinely think these guys will be the last, like the final couple. I'll be surprised if he chooses Hyunjun is all.
가지 마. 안 갔으면 좋겠는데. 오늘 그냥 여기.
This is my interpretation of this whole situation. I feel like Minsung doesn't actually like have feelings, like genuine like romantic feelings for Hyunjin. But I think it was one of those things, especially after that car ride where they're talking about like him and Hyunjin's lifestyles and the way they are is so different. But I think really this choice he's making, it's like he's almost forcing himself to like Hyunjin because it's like he suits what I need, like what I want in my life. Like our lifestyles, you know, his personality is not like out there and, you know, he's like a normal dude. Because he even talks about how he doesn't really like celebrity lives and like dating a celebrity or like someone that's in the public eye in a way. So I feel like he's forcing himself to like Hyunjin, where in reality, he probably knows that if he was to pick based on purely feelings, he would choose Hyunjin without a heartbeat. But I feel like he's forcing himself to like Hyunjin. And the reason I say that line where he says, even after hearing the words, there's this hesitation in my heart or whatever. Right? That, it just makes me feel like he's just continuously, he's like, I've got to, maybe wherever, I think it's subconscious. I don't think it's something he's doing on purpose, but he's like, I've got to make this work. I've got to like this person because he suits my style and lifestyle and all that. So, I don't know, maybe I'm reading too much into it, but that's the vibe I'm getting.
말을 하게 된다면 형중 씨랑 하지 않을까 약간 그렇게 예상했던 것 같아요.
That would be a conversation that I would like to see. Because I feel like they have a lot of words that they need to exchange.
아, 나 렌틸 커리 만들려고.
렌틸 커리.
Lentil curries.
난 들어온 지 2시간.
That's the best feeling when you come home and you just go underneath the blankets when in your full outside clothes. Like, I don't know. I love doing that. Obviously, as long as my outside clothes aren't too dirty, but I don't know, something so nice. You're in like proper clothes and you just get home after a long day and you just fucking go into the blanket. I don't know. Something so nice about that. Especially if it's like a cold day.
예쁘다. 진짜 고마워. 그게 더 기분 나빠.
Oh, it actually looks like a heart now.
고마워.
아우, 눈 매워.
여기 옆에 이거.
Bro's just been going through it
어디?
this whole episode with
왜
the
울어요?
아,
with the
나한테 왜 이래?
onions.
나 근데 그 자존심 뭔 줄 알아?
Youngie got back home from the tour.
다녀왔습니다.
Why'd they caption it like that? Like you just got the birds and the bees tour.
반말하지 마. 커서 다야. 말 쓰지 마. 반말하지 마. 오빤 키도 작으면서요.
It's probably like from some drama or
그
something.
거구에 그러니까 좀 많이 짜증난다.
칼 들고 있다.
말 무섭게 무섭게.
Right, Junsung has the best hoodies. Like his hoodies are fire. Every single one.
근데 딱 들어가자마자 향이 딱 나더라고요.
I'm so interested in this conversation.
이렇게 얘기하는 거 데이트 후에 처음인가?
Wait, I'm gonna get some water because like my throat is parched from talking so much. This episode has made me talk so much because there's just so much to analyze.
아 근데 막 이렇게 숨기는 사람이기 때문에 뭐 여기서는 좀 솔직하게. 응.
Has he?
난 숨긴 사람 아니야.
그래?
I feel like he's been very predictable.
이게 이런 표현을 하기 좀 그렇지만 좀 어떤 상황에서 주도권이라는.
Can I be honest? And this isn't anything against Minsung. this is just like, for me personally, it's just the type of person I just could never date. But it's like with Minsung, it needs to be like, I've noticed this. You need to be constantly like one-upping yourself, or, you know, like, what's the word for it? High maintenance. That's the word. It's like how do I explain it? It's one of those things where it's like, it needs to always be some type of like great declaration of affection, right? I can't be in a relationship like that. And like, don't get me wrong, showing your affection is important, and it's important to always, like, you know, show your love for the person that you're with. That's not what I'm saying. It's more like, yeah, a perfect comparison would be like, look at Junsung and Sungho's relationship, right? There's no great displays of affection and thing. You know, it's just chill, calm. They show their affection for one another in like in a domestic, chill, calm way. This is a personal thing. I couldn't be in a relationship with someone like Minsung where it needs to be these great displays of fucking emotion and affection and, like, you know what I mean? Because me personally, that's not me. I'm low key, chill, you know. So my point that I'm making is, I can't see these two working together, because I feel like for all that Hyunjin is like this internet personality and stuff, I think he's generally a low-key dude that just kind of shows his care in underappreciated ways, where you don't, like, in low-key ways, you know, that aren't these great displays of affection, but are just as affectionate if you actually know what to look for. I don't know. There's just a lot of things as we're getting more into knowing these guys where I feel like these two just don't suit each other at all.
나는 결정을 기다리는 사람이고, 그래서 난 너의 얘기를 좀 듣고 싶어.
Interesting. It's like it's all up to you, which is not wrong. That's
어제
really how their relationship is works.
그리고 내가 만약에 그런 익명 게시판을 통해서 응원을 할 거면 하고 빠질 건 빠져라.
Can I be honest, man? It kind of annoys me with the way Minsung feels like this has nothing to do with me. Like, brother, it does. I'm sorry to tell you, you are involved in this love triangle. You need to take some responsibility. Like, honestly, like, it started with Hyunjin annoying me, but then, like, at a certain point, Hyunjin was just pursuing who he was interested in. And now Minsung, like, in the last couple of episodes, Minsung has just been annoying me personally. Like, just the way he refuses to take responsibility for any of the uncomfortableness that he's created. Because, like, he likes to say, oh, this doesn't involve me, but then he won't make his stance clear on this whole situation, right? Because in any other situation, the person in the middle will say, okay, I know you both like me. This is the boundaries, like, chill. This is just let time show whatever my choice is going to be. But there's no boundaries he puts. There's no responsibility he takes. Like, honestly, the more this goes on, the more I just get annoyed with this guy. I'm sorry.
만약에 익명 게시판 모두가 보는 데서 했었으면 너가 더 오히려 스트레스를 받아야 할 거라는 생각에 그냥.
And the worst part of it, sorry, I'm on my Minsung rant now. The worst part of it is he doesn't take sorry, what's the word I was saying? The fact that they don't want to make him uncomfortable, it's like they're walking on eggshells around him, right? And that's not how a relationship works. Like, if I'm with someone, I shouldn't have to walk around eggshells about their feelings, about this and that. We should be able to sit down and have a decent human adult conversation with one another to say, these are our needs, these are what we want, this is, you know, we need to converse and communicate. But instead, it's like Hyunjin and Hyunjin, it's just like they balance every word, like they put it on a scale to be like, okay, if I say this, what's gonna happen? Is he gonna run away? What's gonna happen? Like, I don't know. Like, that's how it is with Minsung. So, man,
어쨌든 좋아하는 마음도 큰데 약간 그런 상실감으로 인해서 뭔가 눈을 못 쳐다보겠더라고.
That's why having conversations and communicating is important, guys.
거기서 내가 뭘 더 해야 될지도 모르겠고 어제 이후로 아마 그랬을 거야.
And this is from all perspectives. Like all three of them in this love triangle just do not know how to fucking communicate for shit. Right? So that's the biggest issue, I think.
그래서 한 번쯤은 그냥
I was going to say that. It's like, show me one time that you are reciprocating what I'm bringing, because it's always like I'm approaching you, I'm doing this. I said this in episode, I think it was like episode 9 or 10. I can't remember the exact episode, but I was basically talking about how Minsung is expecting, you know, to like he wants to receive something from the person he's into. He's like, I want him to walk towards me or whatever it is. And I remember saying, I was like, you know, sometimes you can also approach, like you can also do that. And it looks like Hyunjun was kind of testing that. It's like, I want to see you choose me for once. So that's, I definitely agree with that perspective.
좋은 게 좋은 거야 그냥. 너가 하고 싶은 대로 하는 게 맞아.
It's a learning moment, I guess, for Minsung. Bro's made everyone cry in every meeting, Hyunjun.
나는 나야말로 안일하게 생각했던 것 같아.
Like, it's the right decision, because like at the end of the day, like I do feel for Minsung, because I do think he has some things to work through. But at the end of the day, it's like, I think Hyunjun's in this place like, I can't trust you with my emotions anymore. Like, yeah, I think he still likes Minsung, but it's one of those things. It's like, if I continue to pursue you and you choose me, whatever, down the line, how do I know that your passivity or your refusal to kind of reciprocate my care and love isn't going to, you know, break my heart in the future? So I think it's one of those things where basically it's talking about, I need to protect myself from the heartache. So I think it's the right decision, honestly. And now I think it's all coming together. I think it's going to be one of those things where Minsung maybe was going to choose Hyunjun at the end, but I think it's going to be like he lost the chance to do it, if that makes sense. So I think he's going to automatically choose Hyunjun. I actually like the way this is going. Like, I know it sounds like I'm being an asshole about it, but I actually appreciate that Minsung's the one that's getting dumped, as it were, instead of Hyunjun, who was working his ass off to show his affection this whole show. Because it's a good lesson for Minsung, but it's also a good lesson for the viewers to see, like, you know, the person that you're kind of into, that you're actually into, but you're scared of being into, is not going to be there to accept your love all the time if you don't show them the proper care and affection and give them the proper time, you know? So I think this is a good lesson for the viewers and for Minsung. That goes to show, like, communication is always something that needs to happen constantly, because if you just communicate when it's too late to communicate, this is what happens, you know? So I think there's definitely a time limit for communication as well. Like, because if you don't communicate something in the right amount of time, like Sunho was saying, love is all about timing, right? That's the same thing with communicating in a relationship. You need to be communicating constantly, or at least when something happens, you need to be communicating soon enough where that issue doesn't take a life of its own. So yeah, this was definitely a big, harsh lesson for Minsung.
민성이는 모르겠어 잘.
He didn't fully give up on Minsung, but it's more like, now it's in the ball's in your court. If you want me, you will try to walk towards me, basically. I guess that's a pretty good strategy, because it's like, if he doesn't do that, then even if I win him over, there's no point. It stresses me out that none of them do their beds. Like none, they just leave the fucking blankets just scrunched. It stresses the shit out of me. Oh, here we go. He's out on the veranda. That means he's about to have an intense conversation with someone. There's always some gossip whenever they go back here.
약간 운거 같아서?
Well, he did cry. So I love how he clocked it. Oh shit, here we go.
누구랑 내가 혼자? 선우 형이요. 선우.
맛있게 식사하세요.
네, 감사합니다.
Is bro just having rice? Oh, okay, I was gonna say, that's crazy. Just rice.
합시다.
Like, just rice is fine as well. Like, I always make rice and nothing else. Oh my god, this is stressing me out. What else conversation do they need to have?
다 먹었어?
용기 내줘서 고맙다 했냐? 빨리 가.
Interesting. I feel like Hyunjin's like basically 90% given up on Minsung already, though. That's why he was able to make that choice.
기분 안 좋아.
Interesting.
여기 정상적인 사람 아무도 없어.
기분 안 좋아.
He seems to. Oh, who said that?
그럴 수 있지.
Sorry, I'm just curious. Who said that?
여기 정상적인 사람 아무도 없어.
기분 안
There's
좋아.
no one.
표정이 계속.
Wait, did Yoonhee say that? Interesting. Yoonhee, who's like so nice and kind to everyone, saying that. So I feel like I'm right about Hyunjin. It doesn't seem to be close to anyone in the house, like outside of like Minsung maybe.
그럴 수 있지.
Oh, the calls. Oh, we haven't done one of these in like 3-4 episodes. This is the last one, I guess.
임팩트가 너무 컸어.
Sungwoo, please, bro. You're not even involved. Why are you crying? This guy kills me.
맞을지.
도움이 안 되는 얘기야.
그래 어쨌든 간에
I guess Sungwoo is kind of crying both because he's probably thinking of his own love triangle situation as well. Like, well, it's over now, but like, you know, he's still thinking of like how Sunwoo's impacted by that.
해야 되고 되게 형에 대해서 많은 생각을 했었어.
이 마음이 나중에는 어떤 모습으로
Oh, nah, they're hiding it. I bet you they're going to leave it to next episode.
너무 힘들어하지 않았으면 좋겠어.
덕분에 많이 배워가고 좋은 추억 쌓고.
I feel like I know most of who called who, but I feel like there will be 1 or 2 surprises. Because I feel like Sunho is going to call Sunwoo because he said, I've been thinking about you next couple of days. And I don't think it's in like a romantic way, but more like in a guilt way. So I think he's still worried about him. So I think he might have called Sunwoo. Obviously, Junsung called Sunho. Yoonhee called Sunwoo. He probably called Yoonhee as well. I don't know, man. Most of them I think are fine. Like most of them I know, but some of them might. Hyungjin left Minsung the letter and the postcard. Okay, I thought so. Are you gonna see what it says? I feel like this is like him ending their relationship, as it were. The letter. They're not gonna tell us what it says. No way in this episode. What did he write? Nah, man, fucking cliffhanger. Yeah, they're not going to tell us. I knew it. Okay. So that was episode 13 of His Man season 2. Okay. So we have 1 episode left and then we are completion this season. End of an era really is. Anyway, that was my reaction to episode 13 of season 2. I think 100% the my theory is that Hyunjin, like, not my theory, but Hyunjin, I think, is basically done with Minsuk. I think he's basically given up on him and broken up with him, especially with that letter. I don't see, I think he's, even in that conversation, he's like, I'm going to start protecting myself from now on. So I think they're done, basically, at this point. And so I think, yeah, especially the mood between them was off at dinner as well. So, yeah, I think definitely really interesting. Anyway, that was my reaction. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.